Hey there, YouTube family. This is Josh with Stocks with Josh, and it's Wall Street Wednesdays with Mr. Jones.
Hey, what's up, good people? How you doing?
Hey, we're going to try to cover 5 stocks. It's new every week. You tell us in the comment section what you want us to cover. We're not going to cover the same ones over and over again, but we've got some hot technicals and some fundamentals for you. Anything that I say or Mr. Jones says is not a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold a stock. Check in the comment section, family. Hit that like, and if you're new, go ahead and subscribe if you want Wall Street Wednesdays. So let's talk, Larry, about Apple.
Let's talk about Apple.
What are your thoughts on Apple right now?
Oh, so we know that stock picker Michael Burry shorted Apple. He actually shorted Apple, and so that was big in the market for Apple.
That would make some waves.
Exactly, and a lot of people have been questioning the timing of the short. It was all fair. I don't think there's any improprieties right there. But oddly enough, Warren Buffett picked up some Apple, right? And so you got that dichotomy right there, right? You got two of like these big stock pickers on opposing sides, actually.
You know, Michael Burry, excuse me for interrupting you, Larry. Michael Burry, sorry folks, sorry, it's inside joke today. Michael Burry, he has actually put out some shorts and then he's retracted them.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's something to watch. But let's look at the technicals on Apple and see what it's showing us. So we're going to look at the fib bands, we're going to look at the RSI, and we're going to look at the MACD. Currently, the MACD is not setting up for a buy right where it's at. We need to see this signal line, we need to see it curve over, and we need to see it cross over the 1225 EMA. We also need to see the histogram here. We need to see it begin to flip over to green. So as of this exact second, there does appear to be some room to the downside. I'm not saying it's going down, but we don't have a buy signal for me on the MACD. I'm looking at the weekly just to keep that in mind. So it's a little bit of a broader view. We could pop up a little bit, but in the longer view, we're waiting for more. Waiting for more action to bring that MACD around.
Right.
The RSI, it's not oversold. This is a typical spot that it can come back to, where we can get a pop. But at the moment, we have to ask ourselves: is this top look like distribution to us? We have been kind of moving in this range. Even if we went back up, would that be a buy moving forward? That's the question we've got. I'm going to just throw out a couple price points for you guys. In these fib bands, it's very common that when we get a move to the downside that we'll come and touch at least this first red one. If we did, that would put us around 130. And I'd say that's pretty conservative to the low end. So yeah, there's some mixed signals in Apple as far as the technicals go right now. So hey, let's take a look at the next one. Now this one we have covered before, but I get a lot of requests for it, so I'm going to occasionally give them some information on that, and that's AMC. Do you have any current thoughts on AMC, sir?
You've covered AMC before?
I have been asked to. And,
yeah, like every day.
Yeah.
Hey, it's just going to be a long bumpy ride for AMC. That's all I got to say.
Okay, well, I'm going to tell you that we're in a precarious spot with AMC. I'm going to call it a breakdown or breakout zone. So if we get below a certain spot, we could go down into the 8s. If we can break above a certain spot, I see us going to 22. So I'm going to give you that in the charts.
While he's pulling up the charts, I believe that it will hit both of them. That's how volatile it is. I believe there's going to be lower lows and higher highs for this period. Not going back last year, but for this period, I believe there are going to be lower lows and there's going to be big buy-ins, pushing it back up. Like last week, it made a little run. You're going to have more of that volatility, and actually the span of the volatility is going to get bigger. There's going to be some huge dumps and then some huge buys. That's what my prediction is.
Well, that's interesting because I think the charts might bear that out. So let's take a look at them. All right, guys. So as I mentioned before on Apple, that I would have liked to have seen it come down and touch this lower outer fib line, and at least AMC has come down here and gotten near it and touched it. I would say that we want, in these two support lines that I've drawn, right? It seems as if we have gotten into a zone where we are somewhat moving like this. And what that looks like, when we got above this what used to be a support line to this past move, when we got above it, you see that we had this very strong sell-off, and it sold us off that same day down below that line. So this had once been support, and now it acted as a strong resistance. We got above it, but we got pushed down below it. Then we came back, it came back and tested the top of it, it got rejected again. We've moved down to the bottom. Now this is a down trending support line, and right now we're above it. We've touched the outer fib line, so these are somewhat bullish. In my opinion, we need to currently on AMC to see a move up to $22. I'm saying that we need to break above the $14.90 mark. That's not an exact price point, it's an approximate, but if we get a break above, let's say $15, I actually think that it's likely that we could move up to $22. If we get a break below what had previously been our right now we're looking at holding that $11 mark. If we get below that 1080, then we're going to shoot to 8. So
go ahead.
in addition to that, let me take a couple more things here at the technicals. We do have bullish divergence on the RSI. I love bullish divergence as a technical. So the momentum to sellers has been decreasing. It is flattening out a little bit, but I would still call that bullish divergence. We do have a crossover on the MACD. Now we need to see that kind of play out. You see that we had that crossover right here. Let me just hone in on that for you guys. So I would actually say that at this present moment, the charts are leaning, and again, I'm looking at the weekly, so I'm looking at a much broader view. So it's looking a little bit bullish to me on the charts at this moment, but we do have some key support lines that we need to hold. All right, Mr. Jones, we're going to look at a little bit of an obscure company. It's called OBSV. Okay. It was brought to me by one of the followers as a suggestion. All of these were. OBSV is it's sort of a pharmaceutical tech company that is working on a solution for, I believe, fibroids or cysts in the ovaries. Not the ovaries, the uterus. Apologize.
I was trying to say the uterus.
Yeah. So I'm not going to really say much about it because from the fundamentals, I don't know much. I would say that I did do a little research on it. It does appear to have been gaining some momentum to getting, they have a timeline for getting their medications approved, and so far that's been going well. The price has, of course, in a lot of these, anything that's tech related has just been hammered. But I would say that, but let's take a look at you have any comment on the healthcare at this point?
Sure. I can tell you anything that's in test trials, anything dealing with pharmaceuticals that's in test trials, they are the most risky stock out there. They're like penny stock.
We've both traded them before.
And it's 80% of them will literally have a promising drug, and it almost like 80% of them don't pass the final hurdle. And then what happens to the stock price? It tanks. And so I wouldn't, on any pharmaceutical, I would not go in heavy on any pharmaceutical, period, move or play, because it's just a lot of risk.
Well, I want to add to that oftentimes when these come out, the story, the fundamental story is what's moving it, the opportunity. Yes. And you see these massive run-ups. It's like $17, $30, $40, $50. They have not proven anything. They haven't done anything. But then a lot of the retail people get sucked into them, and it just begins to slowly have a slow death down to like 50 cents.
In any pharmaceutical, when in doubt, zoom out. I would always encourage you guys to zoom out. If it has already made a big run, then it's even a higher risk to actually enter into.
Yeah, so let's look at the technicals on it real quick. So I will say this, that some of the things that I like to see, it has come to this outer fib band. It's now moved on to the inside. If this is going to continue in a downward trend, we could at least get a pop to 259, so $1 from here. There is multiple levels of resistance at 259. So I'd keep that in mind. I'm not saying it wouldn't go higher, but the only thing that would move this higher wouldn't be the technicals. It would be more the fundamentals. It would be some accomplishment in a news story. I do, again, one thing I do like, though, is that the price has roughly been in this zone, but we do have some pretty bullish momentum on the RSI. But before that would be a confirmed buy signal for me. I'd like to see it break over the 50%, come back and retest. And if it found support there and went up, I would then consider that a potential buy signal. And we do have, again, this is the weekly view, and we do have a crossover on the MACD. So, there is the potential that we had here in this last down period where the price was around $1. That may have been the local low that could be traded up to $2.50. So those are my thoughts on that. We're going to jump now to SoFi, Mr. Jones.
SoFi.
What are your thoughts on SoFi?
I remember when SoFi was 3 times what it is now, and everybody was chasing. It is down. It is what, $7 now?
Yeah.
I like SoFi. I absolutely like SoFi, and SoFi is going to be a long-term DCA play for me as far as investing, not trading. So when we talk about dollar cost averaging, people go, wait, you said this, we're waiting, we're not going in yet. That's different. My $5 a day challenge, that is consistent from now until another 4 years. That is DCA investing.
Yep.
That's different than trading, range-bound trading.
Correct.
Okay? And so I want to make that clear. But I like SoFi, and I believe that SoFi is going to be a huge company.
Well, I think that just like AMD, we covered that on
Yes.
Technical Tuesdays on your page.
Yes.
SoFi is looking very similar.
Yeah.
And it's actually all of the signals may be firing on SoFi. We're going to dive into
Right.
them and give you guys some price points.
While you're looking at that, the question is how far SoFi is going to get beaten down. Is SoFi going to enter in the oversold territory? Those are the questions. And what would be that territory to really start going in?
I think that we may have a pretty good view of that. Let's look
go.
at it. Okay, so SoFi. All right, we are down below the outer band of the fibs. And I will tell you that's what I like to see. That shows a little bit more capitulation. When we get outside of these bands, it typically wants to come home. It wants to get back into the range. I'm just going to jump. We also see this amazing volume. We saw that on AMD. So we have this great big green bar. So, this outer range of this fib band.
Can I do that right quick? Let me do this right quick. It goes the other way. I was trying to blow it up for you guys.
Okay.
Go ahead.
The outer range of that fib band is where more institutional buyers will begin to take that risk. We came to that price, and we're seeing that volume come in. Okay, on the RSI, I'm going to remind everybody that we're looking at the 1 week. So each of these candles represents a week. It's a much broader view to look at the market, and sometimes you've got to do that. When the market is very volatile, you can't be so looking at it so closely. You can't be doing the 4-hour, 6-hour view.
Exactly. Please say that again.
Yeah, so, and Larry and I do it. I mean, we
Yes.
got to take it. Sometimes, the daily view is a broad view. But right now, I'm taking a further step back and looking at everything from a weekly view. And if it continued to be volatile, then I would take a monthly view. But right now, we're looking at the weekly on this. And yes, on the weekly, we absolutely did this. When this came down here, this last, within the last couple weeks, we did get into oversold territory. We have a crossover on the signal, which is always bullish. You see that up here, it crossed over on the signal on the RSI, and we got that push up from $14 to $24. We got a $10 move. And here again, we've got a crossover on our RSI signal line. We've got it in oversold territory. And so we have to ask ourselves, is this potentially going to give us a nice $10 move? I'm going to tell you that just coincidentally, that puts us at $17, which is the first fib band here, which is actually an area where we'd begin to find resistance. And so I'm going to say that right now we are looking at a range from 7 to potentially 17. I would not be a heavy buyer, you know, like right now is a time if you wanted to take a little bit of risk, but you know, as you're getting up above, when you get to, I'll give you the price, when you get above the $10 mark, you know, you want to begin to see where it goes from there.
Right.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, sir, you go ahead.
This is your show. You go ahead. I'm not getting in trouble.
Well, I'm gonna show you guys one more thing on the MACD. I want to show you that just like on AMD, we have a beautiful curve over. The histogram here, this has curved over. It looks like we're going to enter into green. That's what we're wanting to see. This exact point often signals the buy. This looks like it's getting ready to break over, which is really another, that's where people would consider the buy signal on the MACD. So $7 on the weekly, we're getting oversold on the RSI, we're getting a potential crossover on the MACD, we're getting volume on our main chart. So I'm not sure what more people might be looking for technically.
Is it okay
That's
to talk
it, sir.
now?
You're 100% on.
I could say something now?
You can. No. He always can say whatever he wants, but we were getting a lot of comments in the comment section that Larry was interrupting me. And I said over on his page that, you know, we're going on a 30-year friendship. You know, we are totally subdued when we're on the camera.
They have no idea how subdued this is. Hey, good people, you said from 7 to 17.
Some 7 to 17 is a broad range opportunity.
So you're talking about over 100%. And, but we're in a volatile market. You know, back in 2020, you guys that were with me in 2020 and 2021, we would have killed SoFi.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You guys know it was a bull market and we took full advantage of it. But we're still in a volatile market. This stock has been beat down. Like every time you think that it can't go any lower, it just kept falling. And so you have to make up your mind what you want to do. In this market, I'm not, quote unquote, loading up on any one stock or crypto. I am just steady DCAing in, right? Now, this shows it's green light. So you have to do what's best for you. Some of you guys are DCAing. So this is what I'm talking about, range bound DCAing. Some of you guys have it at a much higher price. So now what you're trying to do is dollar cost average your price down, and it's in a range for that. That I would say you might consider at this point. Let's say you bought it at $18 now or $17, you know. Now you can cut your DCA, you can bring your dollar cost average way down by kind of doubling down from what you had, you know.
Yep.
But you have to do what's best for you. I'm not telling you to do that. For those of you that don't have it, you may not assume the risk of loading up. So you're not, during this time period, you're not going to hear me use the term load up.
No, and I agree with that. I want to add to it that if there is anything that I'm dollar cost averaging into that I'm wanting to rebalance, I'm simply putting in a daily purchase. Remember this is a weekly view, so we can have a lot of days that are going up and down. So just buying in at this point, even if it runs up, a daily purchase is going to work out better for you. I just want to clarify my price that I gave for that. The 17 is the market's return type of a high. You're going to have enormous resistance at 14. So I would be looking to take profits at 14, but I'm just saying that if the markets were supporting the move, it could easily go from that 14 where it's going to have a hard resistance, it's going to then potentially be able to push through as much as 17.
Now pull up a chart real quick, and then we're going to end. We're going to go to the last one. Just go pull up a 6 month. Go pull up a 6 month chart.
On SoFi?
On SoFi.
Okay. Well, we're looking. I mean, this it's going to change the view technically on the view that we had,
Right. There we go. Now go
okay.
to the high. Show that price point, just like back in November, about $23.
Yep.
So you're literally, if you bought it at $23, and this is what I'm saying, if you bought it at $23, and a lot of people did because it was a popular stock. Now you may consider bringing your dollar cost average down by buying it at $7.
No, I'm not. I don't want to just give people, I'm not hyping anything. If SoFi is the type of company that if I had it in my portfolio and I wanted to rebalance my portfolio, SoFi would fit the criteria from the technical and the fundamental and the current price point for me to do that dollar cost averaging into.
Yes.
Because to me, this one, it fits that. I see a lot of support. I see good technicals. This would be one that would work for rebalancing.
And let me say one more thing, and this is very important, good people, I know, but we have a lot to teach you guys. Sometimes actually DCAing is not in the same portfolio with the same stock. And this is something that you have to learn psychologically. So if it's in this portfolio, it's red, and you have another portfolio, sometimes for me to bring my dollar cost average down, I will buy it in a different portfolio because it's fresh now. It's all a mindset.
Yep, that's actually not bad.
It is psychological, good people. That way you start seeing green, 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 and there you may be able to do, go in a little heavier there. You see green and you have a clearer vision because you're not emotionally trading, trying to bring that red to green. You have a fresh perspective on the same stock. And I do this all of the time, and it has worked for me.
I think it's a very valid point. I also do that. There's sometimes when I've gotten in and I see it and I'm thinking, well, that's a little red.
Exactly.
And I think, well, I'll put a little extra money over here.
Exactly.
So I get that 100%.
Same stock, different portfolio.
We want to cover as many as we can, but this time we're going to cut it off here, guys. In the link of the description of this video is a download for moomoo and Webull. We're doing the moomoo challenge. It's actually a verb challenge on the moomoo app. Go ahead and download that, fund it with $100 or $200, and you guys can still join in. It's actually a good time right now to buy that particular stock. I just want to thank you guys for letting me be part of your financial journey.
Love your neighbors, especially the ones that don't look like you. Live, love, laugh, and learn.
Thank you, guys.